Okay, and welcome to another Friday night supper. A quick supper that we can do after coming home from work tired on a Friday and using only what we have on hand and a lot of our food storage. My voice is tentative today. I'm fighting another cold, my third since December, and so I'm not going to let it win. But here is our menu for today. We are going to have cheese crusted chicken tenders. We keep these in our freezer all the time. And so I'm thawing 5 of them, and we will be putting that together a little bit later. Then we're also going to have blackened corn along with black beans. This is a dish that they served at my university for a buffet lunch, and it was just fabulous. And so I called and got the recipe, so I'm happy to show that to you as well. And then we are going to have some biscuits from my homemade biscuit mix, and we'll also get to that. But right now, I want to show you what just happened to me. Now, we are mimicking a time when the grid is down, and we may not have water at our sink, even though I will be doing, in a grid down situation, most of my prep right here in my kitchen, where I have all my supplies. I lifted up our barrel of water and tilted it over, and look what happened. This spout broke. It's threaded here, and it threads right into this center hole. Fortunately, in this little bag put away with our emergency supplies, I had a replacement. What a lesson this is, because this could easily have happened when we would be in dire straits, and we would figure out something anyway. But I'm going to get some more of these and have these on hand. So I'm just going to put this back in place. And now we have our water supply ready. So when I went outside to our food storage to check to see what needed to be used, I found this peach pie filling. It is the last one. It is just about a year old, but it has separated. And I was not very fond of this in the first place. The amount of clear gel that was called for in the recipe was a little bit too much, and so it's too thick. So I'm just going to, this is the last one, I'm glad to be using it. I'm just going to be inventing kind of a little recipe I hope will work. I'm going to dump it right here into this bowl. Look at how it's separated. So I'm going to stir this up, and it's going to mash up the peaches, sadly. But it's the way it is, and we're going to use it because I don't want to waste anything. Here I have a puff pastry. Now this puff pastry was one that I had out ready to go when I was doing a recent video on beef pot pie mix. And it partially thawed, and I put it back in the freezer to refreeze it. And so I know that it needs to be used. So I'm just going to roll it out long, and it is still cold. When we put pie filling together, we like it to be cold. And then I'm just going to put a line of that peach pie filling right here. Build it up a little bit. I probably won't use all of this. And that is probably just about enough. And then I'm just going to cut little strips. And we are going to bring those strips and weave them one side to the other side. And we're going to see if we can get it in that little pan. I'm going to carefully try to move this over into the pan, diagonal, so it's better fit. I have a little bit of our egg powder right there, and I'm going to add just a little bit of water. That's about 2 tablespoons of egg powder and 2 tablespoons of water, reconstituting an egg. We're going to do a quick little egg wash here. I so love having egg powder. I just use it all the time. Now this is sugar, and I'm just going to sprinkle some sugar across the top. If I had some raw sugar in those bigger chunks, that's what I would use, but regular granulated is okay. All right, now the oven, we're going to be cooking this entire meal off-grid. And so our propane little outdoor oven is preheating, and when it's ready to go, I'll bring you out there and we'll get this in to cook. One of the reasons that we practice doing off-grid is so that we can get to know our equipment better. And this little stove, as nice as it is, the oven doesn't get much above 350. So it's 350 right now, and the peach is going in. So here we go. And we'll come back when it's done, and it's going to be much slower than usual. So I imagine it'll be at least an hour. So we'll be back when this comes out. All right, it is time. It did get up just a little bit hotter than 350, but it took over an hour. And here it is. Get it in the sun so you can see it better. It looks beautiful. I hope it tastes good. Yeah. All right, we're going to take it in the house to cool. We have the coals getting ready for the Dutch oven outside. We have the propane oven preheating, and we have the EcoZoom rocket stove heated up and ready. It has a little fire in it. So all of the things are getting ready out there. We have a little prep to do here. So in this plate, I have 2 tablespoons of egg powder right here and a tablespoon of powdered milk. So I'm going to mix a little bit of water here. This is going to be what I use to dampen the chicken in. We'll roll it in this liquid, and then, so this is an egg and milk mixture. And then we'll roll it in the cheese mixture, and then we'll be ready to put them on the plate. Put them on in the frying pan, ready to go as soon as we preheat that frying pan. Okay, so that's good enough. Here is our grated Parmesan and Romano mix that we got up in Salt Lake on one of our earlier trips. I have a whole lot of this, and it is stored in our outdoor refrigerator. And so we're ready to go. So I use my fingers. My hands were just washed. So dip in the egg milk mixture and roll it in the cheese. Ooh, this is good stuff. And then line it right up here on this paper towel. All right, the chicken is ready to put into the pan. So we're going to set it aside. Here's our peach dessert we have all ready. Now next I'm going to the biscuit. I just used the tap water to wash my hands. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got to get in the mindset of off-grid. All right, so this is my homemade biscuit mix. I have half of a recipe left. So that's all I make for Jim and me any given time is half of a recipe. And this recipe is now up on our website. And to this, I add 3/4 of a cup of water, which is what I have remaining right here. Stir this with a fork. I'm just going to steramine this little bit of countertop right here. And I'm just going to turn this out right onto the countertop. I don't want to work this too much. We want the biscuits to be nice and tender. Here is my pan. It's the twin to the one that I cooked the peach dessert in. I have two of them. They're very heavy, 9x9 pans. And I have this dough now in about, 3/4 of an inch tall. Now I know that most biscuits are round. I get that. But I'm cooking them in a square pan. Why would I make round biscuits in a square pan? So I generally cut this into squares, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to carefully put these in the pan, placed between. Okay, so there we have our biscuits ready to go. So there's chicken and biscuits. Now the next thing is to get our beans and corn ready. Now, when I went out this afternoon to check to see what our supplies look like in terms of corn, I have freeze-dried corn, I have dehydrated corn, I have pressure canned corn, and I have canned corn. So I began looking at dates. This corn is best used by 2017. It is 5 years old. So I thought, okay, so this is a perfect example of answering questions that a lot of people have. We get asked all the time, how far beyond the best used by date can you actually use canned goods? And the answer is, I don't know, but I have a brain and I can figure it out. And the first thing to do to figure it out is to look at the can. Is it puffy? No, it isn't. It's still all intact. So the next thing to do is to open it. Notice I have a backup right here just in case. This one has not expired yet. It does not expire until November of this year, just in case. So nothing squirted out when I broke the seal. That's a good sign. It smells absolutely perfectly good. So we are going to use it. So this is 5 years beyond its best used by date. It's fine. Now these black beans are some that I pressure canned in November of last year, so they're not even a year yet. They smell just fine as well. And I am going to rinse these beans. I'm going to rinse these beans. Now in this little bowl, I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of cilantro, of cumin, of smoked paprika. I'm going to take the lime juice out with me. What we're going to do is we are going to char the corn in the bottom of the Dutch oven until it is blackened a little bit. Then we're going to add the beans, heat everything together, add the spices and the lime juice, a little salt and pepper, and we'll be done. So we'll meet you outdoors. We are out in our off-grid kitchen. We have the propane oven ready. It is at 350. That's about as high as it gets. So I'm going to put the biscuits in because they take the longest. Then right here is our rocket stove. I need to shove those pieces more inside the combustion chamber. And it won't take the chicken very long to cook, so I'm not putting it on yet. But over here, we have the 12 briquettes underneath. I'm only cooking from the bottom. I'm not baking anything. So I'm just going to put just a tiny tad of oil. I want this mostly to be a dry cook to blacken the corn. Keep stirring this until it's blackened, and I'll bring you back as soon as there's some more action. The frying pan on the top here, we'll let the oil start to smoke, and then we'll move the chicken pieces over into the pot. So it's a little tricky for me to balance everything to get it all done at the same time for a meal, the way I would be able to do that if I was in my own kitchen working with equipment that is very familiar. But this is all practice. So that's going to be nice and crusty. Okay. That is done.
What a balancing act.
Has been. Set this over here and let that fire burn out. All right, here are the biscuits. They did not get too browned on the top, but they're lovely on the bottom.
They're even hot.
Yes, they're very hot.
So just turn it.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Chicken for Jim. Jim likes crusty stuff, so I'm going to give him those. And I'm just going to take one. And, honey, how many biscuits do you want?
One is fine to start with.
Okay. I'll go with one. Black beans and corn. Ooh, there's going to be enough for leftovers. This smells so fabulous. Nice and fluffy biscuits, even though they are not round. And a little peach dessert for each of us. Oh, it's so flaky. So, here is our lovely supper. Quick, mostly with food storage things and things that we always have on hand. So I'm going to take a little bite, let you know how everything tastes. So first I'm going to do the corn and black beans. See if it tastes anything like it did at school. Really nice flavor, it just needs some salt. It's really good. And then a little bite of the chicken. Completely done. Good thing. I love that cheese crusted chicken. It is really one of my favorites. A bite of the biscuit. Very flaky, done all the way through. I could put honey or jam on that. Sounds good. And now for a little bite of the dessert. perfect end to the meal. It's a nice meal. It's colorful with the beans and the corn. The chicken is delicious. The biscuits are the nice touch, and everything was done off grid, and they all came out at about the same time, so I'm feeling pretty darn good. So thank you for being with us for Friday night supper off grid, and we will see you again at our next video.